Sean Diddy Combs' team is once again asking a judge to declare a mistrial in his sex trafficking and racketeering case. Defense attorneys claim prosecutors presented false evidence alleging Combs dangled a woman from a balcony in Los Angeles in 2016, saying that they can prove he was in New York City at the time. Let's bring in ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona to break this all down. Thanks so much for being with us. Diddy's team claims that the woman committed perjury on the witness stand, and that's why they're asking for a mistrial. What do you make of this move?
Yeah, so I was in the courtroom when this witness was testifying, and when the defense attorney, Ms. Westmoreland, confronted this witness with the travel arrangements where Sean Combs was in a different state when she alleged that she was dangled over this balcony. So in terms of what the defense is trying to do, they're trying to prevent a miscarriage of justice. They are asking the judge to step in and not to wait and see what a jury would do, because now they've shown a pattern of prosecutorial misconduct by this prosecutor. Number one, with the insinuation that Sean Combs has something to do with paying off LAPD to get rid of evidence, and now with condoning this perjured testimony. So yes, they're asking for the judge to step in now and make a decision, and not to wait to see what a jury would do. Also to remember that they're doing this now because they are doing two things. They're also trying the case in front of a jury, but if there is a conviction, they want to make sure that they have brought this issue up before this judge, so that way an appellate court can review this decision.
Okay, thank you for explaining that context there. And prosecutors, they are expected to respond to the mistrial request before court resumes tomorrow. What do you anticipate will happen?
So on this specific issue, I think the judge is going to deny the defense's request for a mistrial. The reason being because they're dealing with something having to deal with the credibility of a witness. The jury is the finder of fact. They are the ones that determine the credibility of witnesses. So that being the case, the judge is going to say that it's up to the jury to determine the witness's credibility, that being of Cassie Ventura, and also of this witness that supposedly gave perjured testimony. So they're going to leave it. The judge is going to let the jury to decide and going to deny the defense's request.
So at the core of this case, Diddy is facing a RICO charge. Based on what's been presented so far, do you believe that there's sufficient legal basis for this charge?
So at this time, of course, what the prosecution is alleging, not just racketeering, but also racketeering conspiracy. So I think as of now, based on the evidence that is presented, a judge is going to say to both parties that there's sufficient evidence for the charges to go before a jury, for them to make a determination as to whether the prosecution has proved it beyond a reasonable doubt. Specifically as to racketeering conspiracy, I think through various witnesses, they have been able to present that, yes, the employees of Sean Combs, his security, as well as his chief of staff and other assistants, did assist Sean Combs when it came to preparing these rooms for these hotel nights or these freak-offs, but also that they assisted in delivering drugs and providing drugs during these freak-offs and during these hotel nights. Also having to deal, remember, with the kidnapping of Capricorn Clark, that it was the security that assisted with that. Also having to deal with the arson of Kid Cudi's car, that also people assisted Sean Combs with that. So based on the information so far that's been presented, and there's still another week of testimony left, I think there is enough for the jury to determine, or to at least consider, the racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, and the transportation to engage in prostitution.
So Bernarda, tell me what you're watching for tomorrow.
So tomorrow we're going to go into another full day of direct examination of Jane. So based on the opening statements by the prosecutor, what I'm expected to come in tomorrow is more information, of course, of these hotel nights, of these freak-offs, but also about one violent night that was just as recent as 2024, where Jane alleges that she was actually brutally beaten by Sean Combs. I believe it was having not to want to do or engage in a hotel night or a freak-off. So I'm expecting that testimony to come in, but also the possibility that there's recordings of Sean Combs possibly trying to change the narrative of what the relationship was like between him and Jane.
All right, Bernarda Villalona, thank you so much for being with us. And a reminder that Diddy has pleaded not guilty and denies all charges against him.